All right, so I'm looking at your quiz, or these are options for your quiz right now. I'm just kind of looking to see what exactly they're going to make you do. Dividing, multiplying. Okay, so these are the types of questions that you are going to be seeing tomorrow, okay? Something very similar to this, I'll try doing, at least one of each type so you know what kind of questions you're going to be seeing. So here we go. So number one of the types of questions you'll be seeing is going to look like this. So 4 over 16, we'll say a to the fourth, a to the sixth, c to the eighth, c to the third. There's going to be a question like that. So 4a to the fourth, c to the eighth, divided by 16a to the sixth, c to the seventh. Now, remember, they are expecting that you still remember how to simplify variables, right, when they're being divided. So just as a real quick reminder, I'm going to put it in green here. Whenever you have variables that are of the same base, now what does same base mean? That's this number right here, okay? Or letter, number, letter, whatever it happens to be, we call that the base. The m and the n are called the powers, okay? So whenever you're dividing numbers that have the same base, but they have maybe the same power, different power, what you're supposed to do is subtract. Okay? Top minus bottom on the power, okay? So just remember that. Now, let's go ahead and simplify the 4 over 16 first. So what's 4 over 16 if I reduce it? 1 over 4, right? 1 over 4. All right, so there we go. Now, a to the fourth over a to the sixth. I can do this on the side, some scratch work. A to the fourth over a to the sixth. That's a to the 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. So I'm going to write that down. And I know that you might be saying, well, wait a minute, negative powers, we can't leave it on top. I'm not, but for now, I'm just going to write it up on top. And then c to the eighth divided by c to the third. C to the eighth divided by c to the third. That's c to the 8 minus 3, which is c to the fifth, right? So that's c to the fifth. Now, what are we supposed to do when we have a negative power on a variable? You guys remember? If it's on top and it's a negative power, what do we do to it? You guys remember? Move it down, right? So if it's on top of a fraction and it has a negative power, we move it down to make the power positive. Okay? So again, that is another property they're hoping you guys remember, which basically says if you have x to the negative m, that's the same as 1 over x to the m. Or if you have 1 over x to the negative m, that's the same as x to the m. So the negative power moves it up or down, okay? The negative power moves it up or down. So that means that my final answer here will be c to the fifth, because 1 times c to the fifth is just c to the fifth, and then 4a squared. And that's my answer to this problem. Okay, that's been simplified. All right, so you'll get questions like that. I see at least, let me see, 1, 2, similar ones, 3. Yeah, so you're going to see maybe about 3 of these things on a test, on your quiz tomorrow, okay? So make sure you understand how that works. Does anybody have any questions on this? Go ahead and look at it, see if there's something that just doesn't make sense for you. So from this step to this step, correct? Right? All right, so the 1/4, now notice the top has this a to the negative 2, right? So that has to be moved down. I got to move it down because a negative power makes me shift it. If it's on top, it goes down. If it's on the bottom, it goes up. Okay, that's what those are basically saying, right? They're saying you can move it down, you can move it up. Okay, so again, these are going to be left in the notes for later, just in case you guys want to write them down a little later. So the a to the negative 2 is going to go down, and the power becomes positive. So instead of a to the negative 2 on top, I get a squared on the bottom, right? So that's how this a squared showed up right there. Okay, so that's the a to the negative 2 part. Now, the things that are left, once I get rid of the a to the negative 2, the things that are left are a 1 and a c to the 5th. So 1 times c to the 5th is just c to the 5th, right? So that's why there's just a c to the 5th on top. The 4 is on the bottom because that's where it was, right, originally. So, Any other questions? All right, so let's check out. So let's try a different one that they're going to be giving you, something similar to what I'm going to be seeing on the quiz for you guys. Now remember, there's a lot of factoring in this in these last 3 sections, right? And then there's division and multiplication, which involves factoring. So they're going to give you a lot of things that you're going to be able to factor. Okay. So we have x squared minus 36, and on the bottom, x squared minus 2x minus 12. And they're going to want you to simplify. Okay? They're going to want us to simplify this. So notice the top is something that you can factor, so is the bottom. So again, I'm going to use my green pen here to signify scratch work, right? Things that I'm doing on the side. So x squared minus 36. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is not 4 terms. They don't have anything in common. It's not 4 terms. It's not 3 terms. It is 2 terms. And if it's 2 terms, maybe it's a difference of 2 squares. And when I look at it, I see a minus. And I see 2 numbers or 2 things that can be squared, right? This is x squared minus 6 squared. Right? I can rewrite x squared minus 36 as x squared minus 6 squared. So this is a difference, you see the minus in the middle, of 2 squares. So how do we factor it? Well, there's a trick to it, right? You just write x and a 6, an x and a 6, and put minus plus, and you're done. You factored it. There's no need to do an x method. A student asked me, could I do an x method if I want to? Yes, you can. Let me show it to you really quick. Now, if you want to do this later on, that's fine. But check this out. If you do the x method for a difference of 2 squares, here's what happens. This is your a term. This is your c term. Your b term isn't there. What's the value of b? If I don't see it, what must it be? A 0, because it's missing, right? It's gone. So when you do it, you're going to say, okay, this is negative 36 and this is 0. Give me 2 numbers that multiply to negative 36 that add up to 0. That would be a negative 6 and a positive 6. So your answer would be x minus 6, x plus 6. Notice that's the same thing, right? There's no difference. So if you really don't remember differences of 2 squares, just know you can always use the x method, just that your b value will be a 0. Okay, but that's sometimes a little confusing to people, so that's why I don't teach it that way. I just tell them, look, notice that it is what it is and use the trick. A minus b, a plus b. Okay, so up here, this will be x minus 6, x plus 6. Now let's factor the bottom one. The bottom one, let me write this out here. X squared minus 2x minus 12. This is my A, my B, and my C. Remember, C is always just the number that doesn't have a letter, right? It's your constant. So there's my A, B, and C. So if I factor this, I get a negative 12, because 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. And my B value is a negative 2. So 2 numbers that multiply to negative 12 that add up to negative 2 would be a negative 6 and a positive 2. Oh no, wait, what am I thinking? Did I mess up on something? So negative 12, negative 6. Oh, I messed up on my number. Hold on, give me a second. I just realized I made a quick mistake, guys. On your original problem, in the middle, the b value for the bottom, make it, I'm going to change the color, a negative 4x, okay? So I apologize for that. Make it a negative 4. So that's where you should be replacing it, in 3 different places in the original problem and on my x method. Now, if that was written out correctly the first time, my apologies, right? You would use a negative 6 and a positive 2, because that adds up to a negative 4. It multiplies to a negative 12. So your answer would be x minus 6, x plus 2. So sorry about that mix-up, guys. Like I was telling you guys, whenever we make a problem, sometimes it doesn't come out the way we want it to. Well, I made a mistake, unfortunately, and when I multiplied it. So here we go. X minus 6, x plus 2 goes on the bottom. What can I cancel out? All right, my x minus 6 is gone. So my answer is going to be x plus 6 over x plus 2. Okay? So you guys are going to get 1, 2, I'm just looking really quick, 3 problems like that. Okay? The rest of the problems from your quiz are going to be multiplication and division stuff. Okay? And there's going to be a couple complex ones. So we're going to do about 3 more examples here. But they're going to either be multiplying or dividing. Okay? Remember, guys, this little part right here, this is unnecessary. If you want to do it, feel free. That's another way to do a difference of 2 squares, but most people don't want to do it that way. They're like, it's too much work. I'd just rather memorize the pattern and I'm done, right? But you can always do it that way too if you want. Okay, I'm not going to tell you not to. You can. It can be done. It's just a little bit more work. Okay. So here we go. Third type of question you're going to see. So let's see. This is a division. So let's see. 5a squared over 6a plus 12 divided by, we'll say 15a to the third divided by 6a plus 12. Okay, so there'll be some questions like that. Now remember, before you start simplifying anything by factoring, first rewrite the problem. So let's rewrite it. 5a squared over 6a plus 12 times, right, because we don't want to divide by fractions, we want to multiply by reciprocals, times 6a plus 12 over 15a cubed. Now, is there something I can cancel out? All right, 6a plus 12, right? I can get rid of that. Okay, can I simplify 5 and 15? Yeah, right. 5 goes into itself once and into 15 3 times. So before I do anything with the a's, let me just rewrite this because it starts to get kind of messy. So let me just rewrite this. This is a squared. I don't know. I think I zoomed out by accident here. Just a bit. So this will be a squared over 1 times 1 over 3a cubed. Can I reduce my a squared and my a cubed? Yeah, right. There's 2 a's on top. There's 3 a's on the bottom. Which one has more, the top or the bottom? The bottom. How many more? By 1, right? Good. So this is going to cancel out completely. Let me use a green color here. This one will just become a first power, because that's all that's left. There's just one more a there. So my final answer is going to be, well, actually not final. Let me rewrite just to make sure that people are following along if they're not here. this is what we end up with. Once we've simplified everything as much as possible, you end up with 1 over 3a. Now notice, by practicing a division problem, we also practice a multiplication problem. You guys are getting that, right? If I were just to say multiply this, then you do everything except for the flipping part, right? So instead of doing multiplication problems, I'm going to practice on the division, and then the multiplication will get practiced in between, all right? So don't feel like, oh, why didn't Mr. V teach me any or reteach some of the multiplication? I did. They're right here. That's the multiplication problem, right? We just did a previous step of flipping over a fraction, right? Which is part of the division process. So yeah, so don't feel like we're not going to cover it. We will cover it. It's just going to be something that's done in the middle of the work. All right, so let me give you one more of these problems. So I'm not doing a lot of these things because of the fact that they're so integrated together. There's so much integration of the work together within each problem. So I don't have to do 8 of these. I can do 4 and you should be good. Okay? Which, by the way, if I'm looking, there are 12 questions on the quiz, but I think I may cut some down. I'm not sure, but at the most, there'll be 12. Okay? And they're going to be simplifying, just normal simplifying, some multiplication, some division, and some complex fractions, which we're going to do right now. Okay? So x squared plus 19x plus 84 divided by, and I'm trying to do a kind of like a tough problem. That way you guys can see one that's a little bit on the harder side. And then we'll do x squared plus 9x plus 14 divided by 2x minus 2. So this will be our last problem that we do. So notice this is called a complex fraction, okay? Because it's a fraction divided by a fraction. All right? So I always recommend you rewrite stuff, okay? Rewrite things. So here we go. X squared plus 19x plus 84 divided by 4x minus 4, or over 4x minus 4, divided by, so there's my division, of x squared plus 9x plus 14 over 2x minus 2. So that's what I always do. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I am the type of person that needs to do things step by step to understand what's going on, so I like to write things down step by step. Now, since this is division, that means I got to change it to multiplication and flip the fraction, right? So here we go again. X squared plus 19x plus 84 divided by 4x minus 4 times 2x minus 2 divided by x squared plus 9x plus 14. Okay. I got to start factoring. Now you notice the first fraction on top is 3 terms. That requires an x method. The bottom of that fraction is just 2 terms, and I can just take out a 4. I should be good. On the second fraction, the top is just 2 terms. I can just take out a 2, and I should be good. But the bottom is also a trinomial, which means I need to do the x method for that too. So I'm going to have to use the x method twice. So let's start with the first one, okay? The left side fraction. Here's my A, B, C. This will be 84 and 19. Okay, to help you out a little bit, 7 times 12 is 84. Okay, and 12 plus 7, or 7 plus 12 is 19. Okay, so I'm going to help you out with those because there's a lot of factors for 84. So let me help you with that one. So a positive 7 and a positive 12. Okay, obviously you could have used like 2 and 42. You could have used a 3 factor. You could have used a 4 as well. There's a lot of factors, but I just wanted to help you out a little bit. So that means this is going to be x plus 7, x plus 12. So let me write that out. X plus 7, x plus 12. All right. The bottom, I can just factor out a 4, and it's going to become a 4 times x minus 1. Okay. The other fraction on the top right, what can I take out of it? A 2. That'll be 2 times x minus 1. And then I have that x squared plus 9x plus 14. So let me do that one right here on the side. This is my A, my B, and my C. So A times C is 14. On the bottom, I put a 9. What two numbers give me a 14 and a 9 when I add them? 7 and 2. So plus 7 plus 2. So that's going to be x plus 7, x plus 2. All right, what can I cancel? All right, what else? Anything else? It's kind of hidden, but it's there. One more thing. The 2 and the 4, right? 2 goes into itself once, into 4 twice. So here we go. Let's write our answer. Or let me write down what it looks like before I get my final answer. So the left side just says x plus 12 over 2. The right side will say 1 over x plus 2. Okay? So that comes out to x plus 12 over 2 times x plus 2. And that's my final answer. Notice in this problem we practiced factoring a trinomial. We practiced division, multiplication, and complex fractions all at the same time. Okay? So that's why I don't really have to show you guys, like, here's 12 examples for your test. Like, if you can do these 4, you should feel pretty confident that you're going to do okay on the test. Okay? Know how to factor. Okay? Know how to do the x method. Know how to do difference of two squares, right? We did that stuff here. Know how to rewrite stuff that has to do with just dividing variables, right? That, like question number 1. All right. So that's basically it. That's our review.